Alright boys, it's freaking upper day today. I'm gonna be doing some heavy chest flies to start off, and a lot of people are like,
oh, dude, you're using your traps or you're not getting a big enough stretch.
dude, I've been getting insane gains in my chest lately, okay? Like visual, so much growth, stretch marks out the wazoo, and progressively overloading, doing shoulder adduction, which is the actual function of the pecs. So if anybody wants to debate me about what works, just look at the proof. The proof is in the pudding, okay? There's a lot of noise in the background. Very interesting. But you get my point. If you want a giant Arnold chest, just do what I do. No, I'm just kidding. That's not how it works. But just follow basic principles like progressive overload and do the function of the muscle you're trying to target, and you're good to go. It's very simple. Let's go. Larry Wheels hoodie on. Alright boys, regarding the hefty weight that's being lifted today, I don't believe you need a gigantic range of motion, or as Dr. Mike might say,
the deep stretch.
Obviously, I showed you the gains earlier from this range of motion. Definitely works. One more set. That moves like butter. Let's go. One more set. One more set. One more set. Let's go. If you do about 4 to 10 sets per week per muscle group, close to failure, you're good to go. You can even use some RIR, go really stupid heavy, do 3 reps to failure. It doesn't matter, bro. As long as you're getting stronger, that's what you're going for. And when you get stronger, you're adding new tissue. Is there neurological adaptations? Absolutely. But the vast majority of your strength-related gains are actually going to be from muscle tissue, not neurological adaptations. All right, so I probably look so weird in the 0.5 zoom. We're gonna go for the max stack for as many reps as we can. Hopefully we'll get 5 below the chin. That's my goal, because I got 4 below the chin last time, so let's go. Let this set be a reminder that whenever your form breaks, that's when the set is over. Failure is whenever the task is unable to be completed, and if you change the task by cheating, you're just doing a crappy version of a drop set. And you're not getting any extra novel stimulus from doing partials. You're just building up unnecessary fatigue that's going to inhibit your workouts in the future and prevent you from progressively overloading that task and prevent you from gaining muscle in the future. For those of you who think that chest flies are working the traps, this is what actually works the traps and the rhomboids, okay? Your traps and rhomboids perform scapular retraction. So that's what we're doing here. And when we do that, when we do a row, we're not working our pecs. Anyway, not to throw shade at that guy, but well, to throw shade at that guy. Anyway. Alright, just a side note, for the 8.5% of my audience watching, you don't get a free pass not to go heavy. And I'm not saying you have to max every stack in the gym, but you should set legitimate strength goals. Remember, there's no such thing as toning the muscle, only getting leaner. No such thing as getting bulky, only building muscle. And to get the toned look that you probably want as a female, as the 8.5%, you're going to need to actually build muscle. You're not going to turn into Ronnie Coleman. I know some women who've told me, oh, I'm afraid of getting too much muscle. You're not going to turn into Mr. Olympia, the 8-time overnight. Workout's going pretty smooth, pretty quick today, hitting PRs out the wazoo. And I think it's because I actually was able to have quite a bit of carbs before I came in here. I had like a cup and a half of rice, and then I had probably like 60 rice crackers or whatever they're called, rice snacks. Thank you, sir. So I think I was like 100 and, it was way over 100, probably 150 or something like that, carbs. And we're gonna do side raises, try to do more than we did last time.
Train harder than last time.
In terms of quality, because I tried 185, felt really heavy. So hopefully I'll be able to get like 4 or 5 reps on it instead of, 2 or 3. Let's go. If you want to see crazy delt gains, you should actually train side raises heavy like anything else. And people will say, oh, well, the shoulder joint isn't meant for that. Your body would not allow you to put on enough tissue to injure itself. The only reason that people get injured is because they do stuff their body either isn't ready for or can't do. Was too heavy, but I definitely tried. Alright, so here we lighten the weight to 155 pounds. This felt a lot better because the weight I chose beforehand was genuinely too heavy. Although I enjoyed training heavy on side raises, that actually was not the form I liked using. It was a little bit too cheaty, so I'll know for next time to do a lower weight. I would rather overshoot and go too heavy on accident than undershoot and always go too light and never train hard enough to actually make gains. Alright boys, we're doing tricep pushdowns. A lot of people don't like the rope, a lot of people like to crap on this thing, but it just feels good. Obviously, I've been able to progress it to an extent. I see some guys putting an extra plate or two, with a gym pin on here. Eventually, I'll probably go heavy like that, but in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the progression I'm seeing right now. I don't see an issue with it. I'm probably gonna do 2 legs here, or not 2 legs, both arms here to start, and then we'll switch to single arm. For those long drawn out sets where the stack isn't heavy enough, you gotta put on Creed. you know? If I want to get hyped to do like a 3 to 5 rep max, I'm putting on something ridiculous, like just blasting in my ear. If I'm doing like anything more than 5 reps, Creed deserves to be played. Let's go. All right, boys, I don't overthink it too much when I do the tricep rope. Man, I'm just trying to think, how can I load this more in the long run? And I added just about as much weight as I could there. Probably, I don't know, like an extra 10 pounds or something like that on the top. But eventually, I'm going to have to gym pin it. And I do have a gym pin, which is useful. So I have to put it in the back of the machine, though, because in the front, the cable is obstructing it. And that's it. I love this movement, and it's my bread and butter.
¿Quieres?
One good set. This movement is technically brand new, although I have been doing variations of single arm pushdowns for a while. This one is honestly my favorite. It's very predictable. It's not that hard to hold on to. I feel like I can easily drive the line of force where I want it to go. Whereas normally when you use 2 hands with the rope, they're kind of both clanging into each other, which is really annoying. But obviously there's nothing to clang into here, so I'm good to just literally pull as hard as I can, which feels like more of a pull than anything rather than a push. And yeah, I would definitely recommend this for a high stability tricep movement. And I have bad news for the ladies, unfortunately. Doing tricep movements is not going to burn the fat off your arms. I'm sorry. It just won't. The only thing that might give them a leaner appearance is obviously getting leaner, losing body fat, and also getting your triceps to be a little bit bigger. Obviously, they're not going to get nearly as big as mine, so you don't have to worry. But if they get bigger, your arms will have a leaner appearance, and they'll look just more toned overall, which is obviously what you're looking for. And I have a quick tip if your biceps are a weak point. They don't need to be hammered with volume, and they don't need to be hammered with high reps, and they also don't need to be trained using a 30-pound dumbbell for the rest of your life. Dude, you need to go heavier. At some point, you need to progressively overload to add muscle tissue to any part of your body. This somehow in the bodybuilding community doesn't apply to the biceps? What? I hear so many times, they're like, oh man, brother, just do the 30s. And, I make fun of that in my videos a lot, but I used to do that, man. And my biceps, they still grew because I was, going close to failure. Obviously, you'll still grow, but there's way more efficient ways to go about your training. All right, boys, right now, I'm super fat. I'm not really fat according to societal standards, but body fat percentage, probably about 23-ish%. It's a rough estimate. So I got a lot of weight to lose, or a lot of fat to lose, but we're gonna be shredded, boys. I'm anticipating it every day. I'm visualizing it, I'm acting towards it, and I'm gonna get shredded. Just wait. All right, boys, I have you for 6 minutes, and I just get to speak from my heart. Let's see what happens. I really honestly want to get shredded, and I know a lot of people say, well, it's the worst experience ever, and, you're going to regret it, and you're going to crash your hormones, and, it's not fun at all, it's boring, it sucks. But I think that's just a mindset issue, and being shredded is objectively cool to see, so I think that you can make the best of it, even if it's a bad situation, per se. And to be honest, guys, I have built so much muscle from my, early years, since my early years, rather. I am so excited to see what I built and cut down to reveal it. And I'm not saying I'm going to compete, but I could totally see myself spontaneously signing up for a show and, kind of knowing in advance, like, hey, I'm probably going to compete in this, but I don't want to do it until the last minute, until I build up the confidence. You know what I'm saying? But I'd probably, cut down accordingly, right? And I know people say, you need a coach if you want to do bodybuilding. You absolutely need a coach. You have to have a coach. You need a nutritionist or whatever, somebody to manage your diet, your meal prep, all this stuff. I don't really know about that. I'm not going to say that, as somebody who's not a bodybuilder, that, I just know for a fact that you can't do that, or sorry, that you, I'm tired, guys, forgive me, that you don't need a coach. But at the same time, TNF is an awesome natural bodybuilder who got peeled out of his mind, was self-coached. And I'm like, if he can do it, then really anybody could if they had the right knowledge, right? So I would love to, maybe self-coach eventually and just be managed by myself, because I know I could hold myself accountable. I know that I wouldn't, break a diet or anything like that if I was prepping for a show. And I wouldn't even be tempted to because, you know, I can clearly see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I guess my point is, guys, like, I've always wanted to look a certain way. I've always wanted to be aesthetic and lean and big to an extent. And, you know, that dream is starting to come true. Like, obviously I'm bald right now and I'm all fat, so you can't see all the definition. But there's definitely something underneath, and again, can't wait to chisel down. How am I going to get there, though? What am I going to do on the cut differently than last time to make it better? What am I going to do to make it more sustainable, and what am I going to do to actually retain more strength and to gain strength while on the cut? Well, the same thing I am doing. And I think half of people losing strength in the cut is their expectations, right? If you're expecting to be weaker, mentally you're going to come into the gym thinking, well, I need to, you know, accommodate to this weakness. I need to kind of realize it, right? I can't just have it as a thought. It needs to be a real thing to validate my thought process. And that's just stupid. Like, why anticipate yourself getting weaker? If it happens, it happens. And, you know, adjust. Don't be an idiot and try to do the same weight if you know you can't. But at the end of the day, dude, people who are expecting to lose all this muscle and get way weaker, I'm sorry, but if you're cutting correctly, that's not going to happen. And yes, of course, if I lose 40, 50 pounds, something crazy like that, yeah, I'm going to get a bit weaker because, mass moves mass. And if I'm a lot heavier, I'll be able to move a lot more weight, right? But that doesn't always mean that, if I drop 15, 20, even 30 pounds in some cases, that I'm going to get weaker. I've seen guys even gain strength. If your programming is really intelligent, you will actually be able to outpace muscle loss on a cut. And a lot of people hear that and they're like, I've never seen that in my life, and that's just not possible. But that's because you've tried what everybody else has tried for so long. You've tried training beyond failure. You've tried all the different gimmicks of, drop sets and supersets and myo reps and, high volume, low volume, and none of it helped you. But there are better ways to train that now we have understanding of through science. And some people say, well, all the old school greats got jacked this way, so we should just do it the way they did it. Why overcomplicate it? But the reality is, you really think that people from 60, 70, whatever, even 30 years ago had it all together and they just knew everything about bodybuilding and science and physiology and everything about the human body? I really don't think so. I think that you can figure out things yourself and push yourself in the right direction just through trial and error, right? And a lot of our training over the previous decades was based on just trial and error for a long, long time until people figured out, hey, if I lift more, I'm probably going to see gains, right? And that's why Ronnie Coleman was one of the biggest guys, is because he was also one of the strongest, right? Obviously, there's so many other things at play there that I'm not going to get into, but nobody can deny he had a ton of muscle on his frame, and he also had a ton of strength. And that's part of science. People, a lot of times, try to say, oh man, well, strength does not equal size. But that's just something I flagrantly disagree with. It is something that if I am doing a certain exercise, okay, for a long enough time period, if I increase my weight on that exercise after I've already achieved neurological adaptations, I'm going to be a little bit bigger. By the way, unless you're a beginner and you're putting on a ton of muscle, you're probably only putting on grams per session. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And, if you like this video, please like it. I want it to go through the algorithm. Comment. Ask me what you think. Tell me what you think, rather. I'm really tired, guys. Please forgive me. Tell me what you think. Ask me your questions. And comment down below whatever. I don't care. And subscribe. Please and thank you. Take care.